السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته والسلام يا تاجرش انت سماح جعل dadka aadka u quruxda badan oo ii ah followerska oo maarag followers mehe subscribe ii ah inta nagu cusub nagu soo dhawaada aad ba u mahadsantihiin inta badan waxa idinka soo sheekeeyaa personality disorder dadka shakhsiyada ka xanuunsan narcissistic saddexdii ajal u dambeeyay narcissistic aan ka hadlay hadda waxaan rabaa break inaan ka qaato oo dib idinku celiyo nutritionkii ama cashiradii also ka hadlaya jirka see u quruxsataa iyo jirkaada see uga shaqaysaa iyo programkan oo la dhahayo IAN muxuu kaa caawinaya waa programka idin sheegayay oo aan ku garaajuweeyay ilaa adiga sanad iyo 6 bilood uu kugu qaadanaya programkan aniga waxaan ku qaatay online waa ka garaajuweeyay last year August aan ka qaatay shahaadada qofkii rabo oo wadamada qurbaha joogo discount yaa la siinayaa haddaan qofkaas aan qoro programka IAN qofkii raba inaan meeshaan uu kala socdo uu ka faa'iideystana welcome waa idin faa'iideynaa waa course la gato hadda aniga waan ka garaajuweeyay haddana course-kiya maasha Allah gatay saa idinka faa'iideeyo course-ku waa gadan kartaa saa ummadaada uga faa'iideysid adna maaragtay waa baran kartaa shahaadada qaadan kartaa marka hadda waxaan rabaa inaan hab online ah idinku soo gudbiyo course-kan aniga faahfaahin ma galay laakiin course-ka oo online ku diyaarsan ayaa idin daaraya ka faa'iideysta luqadda Ingiriiskana waa luqad international ah ma aha luqad oo kooban waxa qof kasto Soomaali waxaan filayaa luqadda Ingiriiska uu fahmayaa because course-ka asoo Soomaali ah ma jiro asoo Ingiriis jiro aan Ingiriisan ku bartay laakiin waxyaabaha uu ka hadlayo dhan af Soomaali ahaan waan ku fahmaa because luqadiyaan garanaya idinkana I hope waa garanaysaan luqadda Ingiriiska marka course-ka hadda orientation qayb la dhahaa idin bilaabaya.
Welcome to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. We are honored that you have made the decision to enroll in the Health Coach Training Program. My name is Nora, and I'm the Chief Academic Officer and Licensed School Director here at IAN. One of IAN's greatest assets is the global community we've built, and I want to be the first to formally welcome you into this collective of people dedicated to transforming their lives and the lives of those around them. The Health Coach Training Program is much more than an online course. It's the beginning step in a journey that will last a lifetime. Your time in the Health Coach Training Program is going to be one of self-discovery. You're going to tap into your unique gifts so that you can share them with the world. Maybe you're looking to start a health coaching practice from the ground up. Maybe you're a parent hoping to learn how to make healthier choices for your family. Maybe you're looking for ways to build on the existing career that you already have in the healthcare field. Or maybe your vision is just beginning to form. We're here to help you realign with your purpose, even if you're still figuring out what that is. Regardless of why you're here, you're likely to find that your wellness journey ripples outward to inspire and empower your loved ones, future clients, and community to explore their own health. And then those individuals are likely to inspire and empower their friends and family to do the same. This is the magic of the Health Coach Training Program. IAN isn't just a school, and coaching isn't just a profession. This is a lifestyle and a movement. Within the course, you will master new information and skills, build on your existing knowledge, and interact with a global community of like-minded individuals. You're going to have the opportunity to learn from IAN health coaches, as well as pioneering health, wellness, and business leaders from around the globe. You will discover more about yourself and your goals, think critically about what's true for you, and create your own vision of health and happiness. Through your personal journey, you will learn how to guide others to and through their own health transformations. We know you're excited to get started. In the meantime, we hope you enjoy the content within this orientation module. This material is designed to give you everything you need to be successful in the course. You'll learn more about what to expect as a student, the resources available to you, and the possibilities awaiting you as an IAN graduate. We're so thankful you're here, and we'll be with you to support you every step of the way.
maasha Allah waxay idin sharaxday orientationkii ku saabsanaa Institute Integrative Nutrition oo ku magac gaaban IAN waa programkii iga caawiyey inaan iscaateeyo ina holistic health aan ku noolaado nolol caafimaad qabto nolol maaragtay diet aada maskaxda iska gelin oo aad si caafimaad leh u noolaan kartid oo waxyaabaha healthigana aad baranaysid oo consistent ku noqonaysid waa programkii baray oo iga caawiyey marka I hope idinkana inuu idin caawin doono waa program wax kasta iskugu jiro oo mental emotional spiritual physical intaba iskugu jira hada qaybtan waxaa la dhahaa meet your teamkaada see u mid garanaysaa qaybtani hadda ee idin aqrinaysaa maasha Allah programkan wax weyn ka faa'iideysaa haddaad qurbaha ku nooshahay haddaad wadankii ku nooshahay ninka programka iska leh waa ninkan oo maaragtay the founder maasha Allah waa from New York marka graduate ardayda New York ay kusoo graduate laakiin online laga qaadan karaa.
We have several things which are what I would call unique education theories that are the underpinnings of our curriculum and why it works so well. I would venture to say that I'm one of the few people in the field of nutrition who has a degree in education. I have a Master of Science degree in education, and because of that background, the actual structure of the curriculum is given a lot of thought and attention. So as a result, your pace of learning and how things are shared with you is thought out with your interests in mind. One of the most basic thing is this idea that human beings are a vast universal intelligence reawakened. What I mean by that is, do you ever see when a baby is born and it looks like the baby is all-knowing? Do you know what I'm talking about? Of course you do, because it's in every baby. They're just there floating. Do you ever notice when the baby, they're like looking at something that you can't see? They're like, oh. And you're like, what are you looking at? Okay, so that is like otherworldly. They're coming from somewhere else. They have this universal intelligence, and that is an underpinning of the course, is that we are spiritual beings in a material world, that we have born with universal knowledge. And then what happens is, and I've studied this a lot, let me tell you, that you enter the school system as this 4-year-old, 5-year-old, goo goo gaga, love everyone, play, 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 self-express. And then the school system, for the most part, says, okay, your name is Susie. You sit in this chair over here and don't get up for the next 3 hours. And we're going to teach you things. C-A-T, cat. D-O-G, dog. 1 + 1, 2. And a different part of the brain begins to evolve that wasn't really there before. What was there before is rah, 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 sis, boom, ba, friendly, playing, everything else. And now you're getting serious. And while this part of the brain expands, this part of the brain becomes less used and apparently less important. It's an education system that's designed to have people be able to sit in a chair for a long period of time and take notes, which perfectly fits into sitting in a chair in an office and take notes. You see that connection? It's not normal at all that people do that. But you sort of think it's normal because that's how you were raised for a decade in the most important part of your life. On top of whatever happens in the school, I remember growing up, my mother saying to me, okay, it's 7 o'clock, time to go to sleep, which I sort of was okay with until she said, well, now you're older, you can go to sleep at 7:30. And I was like, huh? Like, what book did she get this information from? Or in the morning, she would be like, okay, it's 7 o'clock, time to wake up. And I'm there as a kid thinking like, oh, what? No, it's not. It's time to stay in bed. So here I am, I'm being put to sleep when I'm feeling awake, and I'm being told to wake up when I'm feeling like it's time to sleep. So, of course, adults are out of touch with their inner workings, because this whole time, no one in that system generally is telling you, Susie, you just trust your feelings and go to sleep when you want and get up when you want because you are universal intelligence. No, the system, in a way, I would go as far as to say, for the convenience of the controlling adults, oppresses young people to be able to fit into a system that works for them. I just wish someone would tell them after they got to 21, not only can you drink alcohol, but, I want to tell you a secret. When they tell you you're adopted? So they just tell people, I want to tell you, for the last 20 years, you were in a system where you were oppressed to follow certain rules that people made up, and now you are free. So the education system is built that you are universal intelligence, that you already know everything that I'm telling you, but because of your oppression, you kind of think it's not true or couldn't possibly be that simple. And so what we do is have you unlearn things that simply aren't true, and when we have you unlearn those things, the thing that was pre-existing before flourishes, without actually having to be taught. And that's really unique and different. And when you talk to your clients, it's the same thing. You don't need to talk to them like they're stupid. They're not stupid. You can talk to them like they're ultra-intelligent, motivated people, have them unlearn things that aren't true, and help them figure out for themselves how to get themselves well by themselves. Instead of teaching that in school, what do they teach you? They teach you the war. You remember being in school like, why are we learning the year of these wars? I was like, this was grade 5. I was thinking, surely there must be something more important to be teaching. So I think the education system could do a lot better. The idea of our curriculum is to reignite in you the passion to learn, the passion to love, the passion to help people, and to be able to bring this country and through the rest of the world into a healthier, happier way of being. We emphasize what you know, not what you don't know. How many of you already feel like a health counselor but not being paid for it? Right, that's the majority of you. Basically, we could just give you a structure how to do this, and you could keep doing it. But we're going to give you a whole lot more than that. Next, it's a holistic education. We're not just that we're teaching holistic health, but the approach to education, to communication, includes whole body learning. Because everyone learns differently. Some people learn through auditory, through listening. Some people learn through visuals. Some people learn by speaking, by practicing, by cooking, on the internet, through books. So as a holistic educator, we really mix it up so that your opportunity to learn can fit with your learning style and that you can enjoy the learning process. Whereas most education forces you to learn through tests, through term papers, and look, I have a lot of education, you have a lot of education. You forget all that stuff as soon as it's over. Some of it you remember, but a lot of it's just gone. So holistic education embodies it into you on a much deeper level, so you're never going to forget. You're not going to forget about government involvement with science. These are things that speak to your soul, sidestepping the filters so that they're life-changing. But the majority of the class occurs outside, when you're working with clients, working with your own health counselor, trial and error with food and diet. Next, we're very vocationally oriented. You know, when I was married, my wife went to architecture school. She learned about classic architecture, Gothic architecture, modern, postmodern, but the one thing she never learned was how to go to City Hall and get a building permit. She had no idea how to make a business card, how to get a client. I remember the first year, she had no clients. She was so exhausted from the exams, from being in school. The whole education was wasted because there was no vocational component to it. So to counterbalance that, we have a very large part of our curriculum. You're already doing health counseling. I need to teach you how to speak and listen more effectively. I need to show you certain business skills, much more than teaching you about the nutrition side. Although you will get the world's best nutrition education. Next, this curriculum is designed to wake you up to what we call escape the matrix. It's easy to go to law school, but not necessarily do everything legally. Or to go to medical school, but not be really healthy yourself. Somehow, without forcing it to happen, our graduates have a life-changing experience during this year where they transform themselves, even though, even coming into the school, they have already a relatively healthy diet and good lifestyle. There's something in the speaking, listening, and community support that has people wake up and really take their life to a whole new level. And I would say distinguish themselves out of normal social ways of looking at things. And we don't really do that in the curriculum. It's something that happens as a byproduct within the student experience. Next, the curriculum is based in meditation. When you are doing health counseling, you will be trained to breathe. Like, watch now. Everyone take a deep breath in. Did you notice how that one breath reorganized yourself inside? So for me, when I started doing health counseling, this is really weird. When I started doing health counseling, I thought, this is odd. I'm sitting here, and although I have a lot to say to help people get well, I noticed was that people wanted to talk. Do you ever notice at parties, people like to talk? Not a lot of people like to listen. How many of you notice? Lots of talking. Most people, when they're listening, they're just waiting. Well, when's it my turn to talk? Or, oh my God, she's so rude. She's going to keep talking. And doesn't she know I want to talk? Can she tell I'm not listening to a word she's saying? So here I was doing counseling at the beginning because I didn't go to school like you went to school, like you're going to school. I was just in school. I was just doing it. And at the beginning I thought, well, I'll just tell them what to do and then they'll do it. And then I got into it and they were like, all they wanted to do was tell me their problems and talk. And I thought, okay, great, I can do this. I just sat there and I became really good at breathing. And then I thought, oh my God, I'm meditating all day. I just sit there, breath in, breath out. Write some notes down, and at the end they're like, man, that was the best session ever. So we came up with this idea that our counseling practice is mostly the client speaking. We ask questions in the middle of the process, And we give the client at the end of each session 1, 2, or maximum 3 recommendations in the session. And the rest of it is up to them figuring out how to get themselves well by themselves. And it's not about me talking and telling them what they should and shouldn't be doing. And if you can do this and try this, you'll be astounded at the human ability to get themselves well by themselves.
Mashallah. weli orientationkia ku jirnaa oo maaragtay programka orientationkiisa maajalada ilaa 42 majals waaye majal waxaa laga wadaa chapter 42 chapter uu ka kooban yahay programka. hadda weli waxaa maraynaa qaybtii ahayd orientationka. ninkan waxaa la dhahaa Joshua Rosenthal, waa qofka programka iska leh of the founder. He's from New York City. intaasoo sano ka hor 33 sano ka hor ayuu programkan helay. programkan wuxuu ka caawinayaa mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, afartaba waa iskugu jiraa. qayb counseling ku jirto, qayb waxaa waaye programkii 4 sano ahaa ayaa sanad iyo 6 bilood lagaaga dhigay. waa program faa'iido leh runtii. markaan programkan bartay wax badan iska bedelay, xag caafimaad, xag maskaxiyan, xag exercise, xag schedule inaan stick ku ahaado, inaan wax walba qabanayo aan dhameystiro. waxyaabo badan uu iga caawiyo programkan. waxaan rajeynayaa inuu idinkana idinka caawiyo oo maaragtay hore idin sii wado. saa idin sheegana luqadda ingiriisku ku baxayaa, luqadda Soomaaliga insha Allah mar ana soo diyaarin doono, laakiin hadda weli ma diyaarinin. luqadda ingiriisku ku baxayaa. Joshua Rosenthal ninka hadda idin daaraya programka iska leh. marka dhageysta programkan aad ayuu noo caawinayaa Soomaaliga.
I'm Tara Ryan, the Vice President of Content and Resident Coaching Guide at IIM. And I'm here to help you get ready for what is going to be one of the most inspirational and transformative periods of your life. You came to IIN to make a change, whether that means making shifts in your personal life or your career, maybe both, and to ultimately improve lives, your own as well as those around you at home, in your community, and in the world at large. Your specific reasons for signing up for the Health Coach Training Program are as individual as you are. But one thing every student at IIN shares is the experience of this deeply expansive and innovative program that has the power to fill and transform every aspect of your life. So, as you get started, I want to share some of what you can expect from this experience, both the nuts and bolts of the course and some of what makes IIN and this program unlike any other. The Health Coach Training Program, HCTP, takes a uniquely integrated approach to learning. We are grounded in over 30 years of history while always looking toward the future. We draw on science and spirit. We incorporate many perspectives, approaches to health, and schools of thought. We blend tried and true health and wellness basics with cutting-edge research and methodology. We present a curriculum that is accessible to all and that speaks to every learner. The HCTP content was created with 2 paths in mind, a personal health trajectory and a professional one. This is because most student goals fall into one of 3 buckets. Firstly, to improve personal health or the health of family or friends. Second, to become a health coach and launch your own business. And third, to work as a health coach within an existing business, such as with medical practitioners or other health professionals. So, the content and activities you'll see throughout the course relate to both main paths: nutrition and lifestyle guidance that incorporates physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health, as well as information and support for starting a business, coaching or otherwise. But the content isn't one or the other. Both paths are represented in each module, and both include important and useful information no matter what your goals for the course. Your work in the course will culminate in the creation of a personal transformation or business plan. And you can even do both if you'd like. Either way, at the end of the course, you're going to walk away with a plan and be ready to take action toward your goals.
The curriculum is designed to be flexible and to meet the needs of different learners. It's designed to help you learn, integrate, and become what you want, whatever that may be. Even if you're starting this course without a solid vision of what you want from it, that's totally okay. You may not know your goals yet. And even if you do, they may change and shift over time. The structure of the course supports that. You have options and the ability to change your focus and take from the course what means the most to you. We're here to support you in defining and clarifying your goals from start to finish and beyond. One of the greatest aspects of this course is how dynamic it is. The HCTP is immersive and experiential, so you won't just be learning about health and health coaching, you will be living it. As you explore new concepts and identify your needs, you'll have the space to experiment, empower, and transform yourself in ways that work best for you, over and over again. We'll revisit certain core concepts throughout the course, and you can always go back to any learning module if you want to explore it again. Another truly exciting part of HCTP is our instructors. The breadth and depth of knowledge and experience our teachers bring sets us apart from every other health and coaching program. First, you'll meet the IN team, including your HCTP hosts and other resident coaching guides who will lead you through the course. These are our resident specialists who hold a variety of credentials and qualifications. Some of them even started out just like you as a student at IIN. You'll also learn from our inspiring and cutting-edge visiting faculty. These are all experts and thought leaders in the field of health and wellness. They include people like Dr. Josh Axe, Dr. Ellen Vora, Cynthia James, and Dr. Deepak Chopra, and that's only to name a few. And finally, you'll hear from Joshua Rosenthal, our founder, who will share some timeless teachings and reflect on founding philosophies that are still important to IIN. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about the structure of HCTP, and I'll do a quick review, but you can always refer to your course syllabus for more information. Let's start with your learning modules. The course content is set up in 10 module arcs with a total of 40 modules. Modules 1 through 10 include information on IIN's approach to integrative health and our integrated coaching method. This first block really lays the foundation of health and fundamental skills of coaching. Modules 11 through 20 explore functional medicine and the interconnectedness of the body systems, as well as the coaching relationship. We'll dive into best practices and professional standards of coaching. You're also going to be introduced to our business curriculum and begin creating your vision for yourself as a health professional. In modules 21 through 30, you're going to look at numerous wellness theories and approaches to help you personalize your own health needs. You're going to dive deeper into mental, emotional, and energetic health and explore multidimensional health in a unique way. You're going to look at how coaches support clients, as well as potential challenges that you may experience as a coach. And you're going to look at how to structure your business, focusing on branding and selling your coaching services. Now, in modules 31 through 36, you're going to begin specializing and working towards your goal. You're going to explore health and nutrition on a universally conscious and connected way. You're also going to consider what options might work best for you for customizing your services and running your practice. And you'll look at expanding your business offerings and networking for employability. Now, one special feature of the course are your integration weeks, which do not contain new content and have been set aside to give you time to synthesize and really integrate new learning. During these invaluable weeks, you'll receive coaching around where you stand with your learning and with your goals. You're going to have the opportunity to work towards those goals while building your personal transformation plan and/or your business plan. You'll take time to revisit previous content and make any adjustments that you might need to move forward. This is also time to complete or catch up on work, dive deeper into content that really grabbed you, or sit with what you've learned. You'll find your integration weeks at modules 10, 20, and 30. Now, modules 37 through 40 are what this course is building toward. These are the weeks of your integration lab. You'll use this time to finalize your personal transformation or business plan based on whatever goal or goals you want to move forward with. You'll also receive guidance and support on what's blocking you from success and get feedback on your plans. Before you get to your integration lab, though, you'll complete a variety of learning experiences that will support you through your journey. You'll have lectures, readings, and interactive exercises. Now, you'll do practice coaching sessions starting with Module 9, where you can work on your coaching skills. You'll participate in coaching circle calls with several classmates that are led by an integrative nutrition health coach. These calls are where you can ask questions and get feedback from an experienced health coach. They're designed to help you focus on your goals and intentions and experience integrative health coaching for yourself. The calls are helpful whether your goal for HTTP is to become a coach or whether it's to improve your health or both. You'll have the opportunity to connect with the IN team and ask questions, celebrate victories, and receive support around your learning experience during periodic office hours throughout the course. And finally, about halfway through the course, you'll receive your Coach in Training certificate. Now, this certificate means that you are reaching the halfway mark. It also means that you can start seeing paying clients and get your coaching practice off the ground. Now let's talk about your graduation requirements. To graduate from the course and earn your Integrative Nutrition Health Coach certificate, you must pass 2 of 4 tests with a score of 70% or higher, participate in 4 coaching circles, complete at least 6 practice coaching sessions, and submit the relevant coaching submission forms, and be up to date on your tuition. Again, this information is in your syllabus, and we'll explain things more in depth as you reach each milestone in the program. In the meantime, remember that no matter what reason you had for coming to IIN, and no matter where your journey here takes you, whether it's toward a personal transformation or a complete career change or both, know that you have the power to do it. You're only beginning, but you're already one step closer to finding true health and happiness and being able to share that with others. We are so happy that you're here, and we cannot wait to see where you go.
Inshallah. Tara ayaa la dhahaa macalimadda waaye oo one of my IIN teacher ku jirtaa oo maaragtay cashirada kasoo dhigtay. Masha Allah inay idin sharaxday wuxuu programka ku saabsan yahay, waxa loogu talagalay, inta maajal uu leeyahay, 40 maajal waxay ku kala barayaan ayay noo sharaxaysay. aad iyo aad maaragtay uu programkan u fiican yahay siiba dadkeena qurbaha joogo, dadka 5 qaarad uu ka shaqeeyaa, kaliya qofka inuu gato ama online intuu maaragtay iska diiwaan geliyo one time uu baxsado lacagta ka bacdina uu maaragtay uu barto programka ayuu programku u shaqeeyaa. North America hadaa joogtid waa maaragtay online ka baranaya, hadaad joogtid meelaha kale oo ka fog oo qaaradaha kale sidoo kale online ka baranaysaa, laakiin waa inaad keentid qof ku caawiyo saa discount u heshid. qofkaas ku caawinayana waa qof maaragtay hore programka u soo maray oo ka caawinayo dhihi karo qofkan ana aqaano si discount lagu siiyo. Programka waa program qaali ah, marka discount saa u heshid ayaa laga wadaa qof inaad keentid.
I'm Frank Lipman, and I'm a health coach addict. Really, I'm addicted to health coaches. They've changed my life. They've made me a much more effective practitioner, better teacher, and after all, doctors should be teachers. I believe that you guys are in a unique position in this new medicine that's being created as we speak, because as you all know, we can't afford what's going on at the moment. It's not particularly effective for most of the problems we're seeing. And doctors aren't trained in nutrition. So you guys are actually in a unique position to fill this void that we are in at the moment. So I'm going to take you guys on a journey, on my journey, because when you hear my story, it demonstrates how important you guys will be in this new medicine and how deficient Western medicine is in a huge area. So I grew up in South Africa during apartheid, and I became a doctor there in the late 70s. And during apartheid, everything was segregated. Everything was separate. So whites lived separately to blacks. We had to eat in separate areas. We went to different schools. The hospitals were separate. And I chose to work in black hospitals. And my first exposure to non-traditional medicine was actually at Baragwanath Hospital, which is the largest hospital in Africa. It's in Johannesburg, in Soweto. And what happened was when we doctors couldn't help the patients, the family used to call in the Sangoma, or the traditional healer. And they used to call in the Sangoma, and I noticed that sometimes these Sangomas helped the patients that we couldn't help. But at that stage of my career, I still thought it was primitive. So I didn't really pay that much attention. And after I finished my internship at Baragwanath, I went to work at a mission hospital, or in KwaNdebele. Some of you may have heard of KwaNdebele. They paint their houses these beautiful colors. They wear these beautiful beads. My job as a physician was to work at the hospital and to go to these outlying clinics in a jeep with a driver and see patients there as well. So at the hospital, we were seeing really sick people who had asthma. We had to put chest tubes in. We had to do cesarean sections. We had to do appendectomies. We had to do the type of medicine I was trained in. It was acute care medicine, crisis care medicine. But at the clinics where we had to go to, it was set up that the nurses would see the patients and the doctor would come and assess if patients were sick enough to be sent to the hospital. And it was interesting that at these clinics, nearby the clinics, there was a Sangoma. And now I had more time to sort of see what the Sangomas were doing. And I noticed that a lot of the patients that I would not take to the hospitals that weren't sick enough, they were also seeing the Sangoma. And this is Anna, who I worked with at one of the clinics. And I noticed that she was helping some of the patients. And it was really interesting for me. And I realized when I was there that people believed in her and they believed in their treatment, in the Sangoma's treatment. And maybe that's why they got better. And you know what? It's no different today. We believe in our doctors. Our doctors give us antibiotics for viral infections and we get better, even though antibiotics don't work against viruses. So I learned how important belief systems are. You know, we call it placebo effect now, but belief systems affect how you respond. And I learned a lot while I was there. It was an unbelievable experience for a white boy being put into a situation that I'd never been exposed to, a completely different culture. It was pretty amazing. And I realized how important the cultural context of our medicine is. And there's an African term called Ubuntu, which means what makes us human is the humanity we show each other. And I learned about Ubuntu up there. And although I was a white doctor in this black area and I was part of the system, it was an apartheid system, people took me in like I was family. They didn't have much food, but they would always bring me in and feed me. So it was really an amazing experience. And I realized how important the relationship between doctor and patient, Sangoma and patient, was. And, you know, the Dalai Lama says the three most important aspects of healing are the belief of the patient, the belief of the healer, and the karma, the relationship between the two. And that's really important. Even to this day, I do a lot of acupuncture. I can often usually tell before I put the needles in, who's going to get better. And, you know, if we're open to look for it, most cultures have traditional medicines. After all, most of our drugs come from traditional medicines. After I worked there for about 18 months, and then I went back into Johannesburg to work in a private practice. So I started working in this practice in Johannesburg, and I was being mentored by an amazing doctor. And people were coming in, and they were tired, and they had headaches, and they were bloated and they couldn't poop and they couldn't sleep. And I went to Paul and I said, what do I do? I'm not trained. This is not real medicine. I'm not trained to deal with these patients. You know, I'm used to really sick people in the hospital. This is not what I got trained in. And Paul said to me, one of the pearls that I've carried with me all this time, he said to me, your job is to see if they're sick enough to go to the hospital, or if you really think that you're worried about them, you send them to a specialist. But you need to listen to patients. You need to listen to their stories and allay their fears. Because if someone walks out of your office and feels good about the relationship, their visit, the chances are they'll get better, in spite of the medicines that we give them. And Paul taught me to listen. And what was interesting as well at that practice, because he used to see the alternative community in Johannesburg, people were coming in and they had seen the homeopathy was a big tradition there. They had seen the one acupuncturist in Johannesburg, and they were telling me about their experiences, and they were getting better from these problems that I couldn't help. I went, wow, that's interesting. Here I'm trained as a doctor. These guys are quacks, and they're helping these people that I can't help. So I started studying homeopathy. And about a year or two, about 18 months after that, my wife and I decided we didn't want to live under apartheid anymore, so we're going to come to the United States. So when I left, Paul gave me a goodbye present, and it was the Barefoot Doctor's Manual. Does everyone know what the Barefoot Doctor's Manual is? Okay, for those who don't know what the Barefoot Doctor's Manual is, and I actually think you guys are the modern-day barefoot doctors, by the way. The Barefoot Doctor's Manual was a manual developed with the Cultural Revolution, or the revolution in China, where they used to train farmers or peasants to go into the rural areas and do basic medicines to cure basic illnesses. They used to teach them preventative medicine, because the doctors in the urban areas didn't want to go to these rural areas. And they called them barefoot doctors because these farmers used to walk barefoot through the fields. So he gave me this book, the Barefoot Doctor's Manual. I didn't think much of it. And I landed in New York in 1984, and I had a job in internal medicine in the South Bronx. It was a pretty burnt out, rough area, full of heroin, crack and coke addicts. Then after a couple of weeks of my residency, I was extremely disillusioned with Western medicine. And I said to my wife, I don't want to be a doctor here. I don't know what I'm going to do. And that's because the medicine in South Africa was very different. In America, the medicine is very procedural. You take the bloods, you do the EKG, you do the chest x-ray, the patient goes up to the ward, you look at all the results, you quickly go study in the books to see what's going on, and you present the case the next morning. There's no relationship that's encouraged with the patients. And that was different in South Africa because we couldn't afford to do all these tests. You had to sit with a patient and hear what was going on. We just couldn't afford to do all these tests on all the patients. So I'd heard about this acupuncture clinic in the South Bronx. Well, it was actually quite well known. It was attached to the hospital. And I thought, well, I'm going to check this acupuncture clinic out. Paul gave me Barefoot Doctor's Manual. I don't want to be a doctor here. I'm going to check out this acupuncture clinic. So I walk a couple of blocks from the hospital to the clinic, and I walk into this burnt-out building, and I see these addicts sitting quietly with needles in their ears. These are the same patients that I'm dealing with in the wards that are ripping out their IVs, they're shouting, they're screaming. They're really difficult patients to deal with. And here they're sitting quietly with needles in their ears. So I said, I've got to check this out. This is really fascinating. So I went upstairs and I spoke to Mike Smith, who ran the clinic, and I told him my position, and he took a liking to me. He said, you can come and hang out here whenever you want and study acupuncture. So for the next 3 years of my life, I would live two completely separate lives. At the hospital, I was being trained like a mechanic to see the body like a machine. It was heroic and dramatic. I was we were doing, radical stuff. We were treating acute heart attacks, acute asthmatic attacks. It was really effective for what these patients were coming in for. But after we had finished treating them, there was no way, or there was nothing that we could do to actually create health in these people. We had no tools. We had drugs or surgery. At the Chinese medicine clinic, I was being taught to see the body as a garden, and I was the gardener. If the plant wasn't getting enough water, you look to see why the patient wasn't flourishing, why the plant wasn't flourishing. Was it getting enough sun? Was it getting enough water? Were the roots being impinged upon? You didn't just paint the leaves green. You see why the leaves were going yellow. It was a completely different way of looking at the body. And what was very, very obvious even then was these two medicines worked for different types of patients. Western medicine is fantastic at trauma and at acute infections and at replacing joints or replacing organs, but it's not particularly good at the chronic diseases, at helping patients with their diet, with stress. So it was pretty obvious for me to see that Chinese medicine was really good at these things and actually weak at the things that Western medicine was good at. And Western medicine was wonderful at crisis care, but pretty useless at what Chinese medicine was good at. So I knew then what I was going to do. I was going to somehow mix these two medicines together. This was in the mid-80s. But I didn't really know how. So after I finished my residency, I got a job in a clinic on the Lower East Side, and they wanted me to start acupuncture and start doing alternative. They actually had a nutritionist there. So I went to work there, and the nutritionist Susan Luck, who was one of my first nutrition mentors, told me about a guy, Jeff Bland. Has anyone ever, if you haven't heard of Jeff Bland, yeah, he is the most significant person who's changing the healthcare system at the moment. Now, Jeff Bland, who's probably best known as the father of functional medicine. I went to hear Jeff speak, and it was like a religious experience because he was articulating exactly what I was feeling. But he was mixing the Western and Eastern concepts together. He had taken the biochemistry and physiology of Western medicine and combined it with a holistic perspective of Chinese medicine, of creating balance, of improving function. And then the genius that he is had overlaid that with the latest scientific research on how our genes, environment, and lifestyle all interact with each other. So Jeff just blew me away, and I knew I had found a home, and I knew all the struggles I was having to put all of this together. Someone had actually done it for me. So I started practicing functional medicine. And this is my functional medicine tree. And this explains functional medicine really well, or explains medicine really well. In Western medicine, we treat the leaves. We have a disease model. We like naming diseases. So we call it cancer. We call it heart disease. We call it osteoporosis. We give it a name. In functional medicine, we look at the trunk. What are the underlying disease mechanisms? What are the underlying dysfunctions that are causing these diseases? And ultimately, we want to look at the root causes. And one of the commonest underlying disease mechanism or dysfunction is inflammation. And that's now almost universally accepted as a common mechanism of many, many diseases. In Western medicine, we may call it heart disease or asthma or Alzheimer's or even cancer. Many cancers are actually inflammatory diseases. And what happens in Western medicine is we play whack-a-mole. So the disease pops up somewhere and we whack it with a drug, only for it to pop up somewhere else, and then we whack it with another drug. And because we're not treating the underlying disease mechanism, people get sicker and sicker. And to make it worse, we actually give them different drugs for different conditions. So they get side effects from the drugs, and then we give them a different drug to treat those side effects. So we see patients slowly going downhill on multiple drugs, and it's a problem. And what I really want to get through to you today is one of the key underlying disease mechanisms is actually digestive dysfunction. So digestion is a really key dysfunction. And why is that? Because 70% of your immune system is in your digestion, in your digestive system. Your digestion is also called your second brain. All the chemicals made in your brain are made in digestion, in your digestive tract too. Inflammation, probably one of the commonest triggers for inflammation is an imbalanced digestion. Your digestive tract, think of this. This always fascinates me. Your digestive tract is one of the most important areas where you come in contact with the external world. You know, you have your skin and you think about that, but your digestive tract is really the skin of your internal system. And it's an extremely thin layer. It's often 1 cell thick. So when that gets damaged, you are exposed to the external world. And we all know what a screwed up external world we have. And lastly, your digestive system holds more bacteria in it than you have cells in your body. You have 10 times more bacteria in your digestive system than you have cells in your body. You have a whole organ system down there. So we're talking about a huge organ system that's actually completely ignored. Not completely, but almost completely ignored in Western medicine. And digestive dysfunction can present in many different ways. It can present as arthritis, autism, autoimmune diseases, anxiety, and that's just the A's. Seriously, it can present in any organ system. And what I do in my practice, and I have some of my health coaches here, where I start is the digestive system most of the time. And in Chinese medicine, you get taught digestion is the earth element. It's the center. When digestion is off, everything is off. I had an herbalist teacher many years ago, Simon Mills, who's a famous herbalist from England, who always used to teach us, when you don't know what's going on, treat digestion. Every tradition does that. If they don't know what's going on, treat the digestion. And that's what I do in my practice. Most people who come in, I usually start with digestion, because digestion is usually a problem for most people. And this is one of the key things I learned from Jeff many years ago. This is one of the pearls of functional medicine, the 4R program. So remove, replace, re-inoculate, repair. The first thing you do, anyone who comes in and sees you, and this will fit right into what you do, is you remove the foods that could be triggering inflammation or any type of problem. So we usually put people on an elimination diet. We take out the common foods that are a problem. Sugar, gluten, dairy are the big ones, but soy can be a problem. Eggs sometimes, although I love eggs, whole eggs, organic eggs, but eggs can be a problem. We take out all the junk, but you remove any food that could be a problem. And most, even non-functional medicine people will do that. But the second part of the R is, to me, the key of my success with my patients. It's removing the bad bacteria or the yeast or the parasites in the gut. Most people I see have what we call now a dysbiosis, an imbalance in the good and the bad bacteria. And although we need to re-inoculate the third R and give good bacteria, you have to kill the bad bacteria. You have to kill the bad guys. Because if there are too many bad guys, the good guys can't actually get to where they need to get to. So you need to kill the bad guys. And a couple of, grapefruit seed extract, olive leaf extract, berberine, there are lots of formulas that do this, but it's really important to kill the bad guys. The second R is replace. You replace enzymes, digestive enzymes, everyone knows that. And you replace hydrochloric acid, which everyone is scared to do. And most people who have GERD symptoms, who have reflux symptoms, it's actually not from too much acid, it's often from too little acid, especially in older people. So if someone comes to you and is over 50 and they have symptoms of reflux, it's actually because they don't have enough acid, not too much. And they get given that crap, the Nexium and all that nonsense, which creates other problems. And often all they need is a bit of hydrochloric acid, or give them some apple cider vinegar, which will stimulate their digestion. So that's the replace. You need to replace the enzymes, the hydrochloric acid that's missing. Re-inoculate. I mean, I could do a whole talk on re-inoculate. I mean, has everyone heard about the microbiome? It's basically all these bacteria we're talking about and how they affect your health. So you need to re-inoculate the good guys as well. And, there's so many different bacteria. I'm not, at the moment it's a crapshoot. We don't really know exactly what people need, how they're going to respond, because everyone's different. And what I've just learned recently, because when I take a history, I find out, did you have antibiotics when you were a kid? But it starts from pregnancy, from delivery. And kids who've had cesarean sections do not get the flora of the vaginal area of their mothers. And those kids already start off immune depressed or not having the right flora. So cesarean sections we're finding out, are a huge problem. Breastfeeding, you'll get the right flora. And all these bad things that we've thought were good in Western medicine, we're finding out more and more are actually creating harm that we're suffering with in our adulthood. So repair, you also have to repair the lining of the gut. Repair, because I talked about that very thin lining that gets damaged. So you need to use nutrients that repair the lining. And glutamine is the main nutrient that we use to repair the lining. So treating the gut and using this 4R program is really, really important. And I love this quote from Wendell Berry: people are fed by the food industry, which pays no attention to health, and are treated by a health industry, which pays no attention to food. And this, guys, is where you fit in. Because you can be this go-between between the health industry, the food industry. Health coaches, I think, need to be on the forefront of this wellness revolution. You need to be in doctors' offices, not only functional medicine practitioners' offices. My health coaches are fantastic. As I said, they've changed my life. They actually help my patients adapt these lifestyle changes. And a lot of what we're doing is helping people change their lifestyles. And in the old days, I just used to say, okay, stop eating gluten, stop eating sugar, bye, here's a diet. And that's not as effective if I have a health coach actually helping them with recipes and the how-tos. So they've been enormously helpful in my practice. And I think health coaches could be incredibly helpful with any doctor's practice. It's really nice speaking to people who actually, actually believe in the same thing. So you are going to have to go into doctors' offices and actually start educating their patients on how to eat properly, how to eat whole foods, not low fat and whatever. As my story shows, there's this huge void in Western medicine. And in Western medicine, we have this hubris that we know everything about health when we're clueless about nutrition and how it affects health. If we want to change the way medicine is practiced here, you need to get out there. We need to change our disease care system into a healthcare system. And as my man, Madiba, Nelson Mandela says, it always seems impossible until it's done.
afartan cajal ayaan rabaa inaan hadda kusoo duubo maaragtay hal video 4 cajal inaan ka dhigo weli orientationkii programka ku jirnaa wixii su'aalaha commentiga igu soo qoraysiin waa programka aan idin sheegay inaan soo qaatay oo mental emotional spiritual physical afartaba kaa caawinayo plus nutrition plus holistic health wixii su'aal ka qabo commentigu kusoo qoranaya gabdhihii su'aal ka qabo waa program aad maaragtay ii anfacay aan rajeynayo inaan community-gana uga faa'iideeyo oo uu anfaco kooraskana waxaa u gatay inaan dadka ka caawiyo kooraska waana gadan kartaa saa idin sheegay programkana waa kusoo biiri kartaa waa baran kartaa sanad ama 6 bilood ama sanadii 6 bilood waa isku qaadan kartaa marka aad baa u mahadsantihiin wixii su'aalaha waa soo qoran kartaan hadda bilowgii waa 4 cajal orientationkii weli noo socdo maajulada ama jabtarada uu programka ka koobay waa 40 jabtar 40 jabtar weli maana bilaabin hordhac ama sharaxaad guud ayaa uu ku saabsan yahay jabtarkan orientationka aad baa u mahadsantihiin cajalka meel fog gaarsiiya idinka unbaa channelka sii maaragtay meel fog gaarsiin karo maaragtay wixii nagu cusub dadkii nagu cusubna nagu soo dhawaada kuwii hore noola joogayna share iyo like ku qabta programka saan idinku wada ilaa 40 jabtar idinkana encouragement insha Allah ayaa idinka rajeynaya aad baa u mahadsantihiin sida quruxda badan ee cajaladahayga u dhageysataan wabillahi tawfiiq